Welcome to Community Connection. I'm Andrea Mantakounis. Coming up, we'll see how one local resident has been brightening the holidays for children in the area and why one man calls himself the face of addiction. But first, something that never goes out of style, good service. How one local business totes the reputation of friendly, reliable service when you need it the most.
My name is John Wood, owner of Woods Okemos Marathon here in downtown Okemos. Woods Okemos Marathon is a full-service automobile repair facility and gasoline and towing and road service. It's the old-fashioned service station type. We go out and we wash the windows and we offer to check their oil, and if they need air in their tires, we put air in their tires. And a lot of people will want us to pump their gas for them, but then there's some that want to pump their own gas. So if you want us to pump your gas for you, we will do it. And if you don't want us to, we won't. My dad started the business back in September 1959. My brother and I both started working here when we were age 13. When my father passed away in '92, my brother and I purchased this business from my mother, and then he passed away in 2000. Over the years, the service station business has changed. They are a dying breed, and there's not even hardly any left anymore. They're just a thing of the past. But we've never changed, and we've always just kept everything the same, and we've never really have done anything different here than what we did years and years and years ago. Our employees take very, very good care of us. They take very good. We have a lot of long-term employees here. I'm very fortunate and very lucky to have such great employees here, along with great customers too, because if I didn't have the great employees and the great customers, then it wouldn't be what it is here.
I wait on the drive out there, pump the handicapped people's gas for them, and do people's windshield, and try to make their day great.
Roger, he is the man here at Woods Okemos Marathon. Everybody knows Roger. Everybody loves Roger. He has a great rapport with people, and it doesn't matter who you are. When you meet Roger, you become his friend. He just gets along with everybody.
Back in the 50s, my dad had a station out on South Cedar, a mobile station, and I started in working there while I was going to school, but then I went into service. When I come back out, I went back to work at another gas station, and I've been in that ever since. So then I decided I was tired of that, and I started to retire. I did that for 2 weeks. I still felt too good, and there just wasn't enough to do. I started in to run my wife's kitchen, and she told me that I better go back to work. And then I wound up out here, and I've been here for about 15 or 16 years.
I've known Roger since I was 16 years old, and I'm 55. And Roger, believe it or not, has not aged a day. He runs circles around all of us. He works so much harder than all of us. A car doesn't pull into that drive that he's not dropped what he's doing, and he's out there. And he knows everybody by name, and everybody knows him, and he's a very likable person here.
Just try to be decent to him. You go out there, and I tell them lots of lies, and they believe it, you know.
I could go away for a whole month, and not one person would know that John Wood's gone. Roger goes away for one day, and everybody wants to know where Roger is. Where's Roger? Is Roger okay? Is everything okay with Roger? How come Roger's not here?
I like to talk to the people. I like to go out there and talk. And then when you have talked to the same people all that length of time, you get to know them, you know.
And I'm very lucky and thankful and grateful that he works here, because it's just a real plus for this business to have Roger here.
As long as I can keep, as long as I feel as good as I do now, I'll still be at it.
Woods Marathon has been around since 1959, and they plan on staying there for as long as people need them. Up next, you might not notice the work they do, but if they stopped, you'd be stuck up a creek. This devoted group goes out multiple times a year to keep everything running smoothly.
I've only been paddling for about 6 months, so I'm new. No, I'm a novice. I like it. It's nice. You feel like you're out in the woods, even though this is more of an urban, sort of area. Every time you go out, and even the different seasons, the landscape is different. Also, there's different animals. I mean, you see birds and deer and all kinds of different things. I saw there was a beautiful red-headed woodpecker, so you don't see those things every day.
The Red Cedar River is amazingly clear of trash in this section. The natural ecosystem of rivers and The water coming up in the spring and going down in the summer, branches and trees fall in and they block the flow of the river. That makes it hard to use as a natural resource for your everyday recreational canoer or kayaker trying to get down the river and then have to deal with all these obstructions and blockages. So what we do, following Department of Natural Resource woody debris guidelines, is we make just enough clearance for boats to get through safely, and then your average person who probably doesn't know anything about the Lansing Oar and Paddle Club can come out here with their kayak, with their family, with their kids, and go float down the Red Cedar and enjoy this amazing resource that we have.
I know it's important to, Jay in the club, and so, being a club member, it's important to me. It obviously, the more stuff you have out of the river, the better flow you're going to have of the water. So it's a nicer trip to be able to stay in the water.
In most cases in Michigan where there are commercial livery operations, the livery operators spend their time and labor keeping the river clear for their customers. Because there isn't a livery operation on this section of the Red Cedar River, it falls to locals such as ourselves to take over stewardship of these sections of the river to keep them clear.
I love the water. I grew up in the water, and so taking up paddling, it's like I get out there and I love it. And there's so much nature and so many different things to see. I love it.
If you're interested in joining the Lansing Oar and Paddle Club, there's more information on their website at loapc.org. Stay tuned, there's more community connection coming up after the break.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Imagine living in a home designed by the greatest American architect of all time. For 5 local residents, that's a reality. I was able to join the Lansing Housing Coalition's Frank Lloyd Wright Tour right here in Meridian Township.
Architecture is a large part of my life. I've practiced it professionally for 30 years and I've taught it at the college level for more than 15 years. So for me it's important to have architecture a bigger part of my life than, say, the average person. So it's been something I've pursued my whole life. Someone who takes on ownership of an architecturally significant house understands that it brings with it certain requirements for the way that you live in it. It is not, as many houses are today, a blank slate to decorate and to paint. Certainly in the case of this Wright House, there are requirements that are self-imposed. There aren't any hardships put on you by an organization that dictates what you do in the house. They are all self-imposed, and certainly it's my interest to maintain the design integrity of the house. So any personalization that I do certainly with the architecture in mind first.
My wife and I have always really appreciated architecture and good design, and it was really an accident. We were looking to build. That was our intention. We were looking for a lot originally, and we wanted to find an architect, and we knew we wanted a contemporary house. That was a plan. We couldn't find a site, and we lived in East Lansing at the time, and there was a house that had sort of Frank Lloyd Wright elements to it. So I called the realtor and said, look, there's this property, and it has sort of a Frank Lloyd Wright roof to it, because I didn't write the address down. And the woman I spoke with said, oh, well, that's not a Frank Lloyd Wright. And I said, well, I know, I was just trying to describe some of the features of the house, but we have a Frank Lloyd Wright house. Are you interested? I sort of gave up, said, a tour of a Frank Lloyd Wright house, why not? So that's really why we looked the first time. We sort of walked away thinking, wow, that is an incredible house. We love the house. Couldn't afford it at the time. It was out of our price range, so it was nothing but a tour, and kind of forgot about it. And then the realtor said, well, geez, the estate is going to have it appraised, and the price will probably come down significantly. And it did, and it came down within our range. And we actually came back 4 or 5 times. Every time we came back, we fell in love with it more and more. It's exactly what we wanted. We love it. I mean, we're very happy here. We love the connection to nature, having all the glass out back here. It doesn't wear off. We still walk around and wonder when the owners are going to show up and kick us out. I hope they don't.
Of the 532 works Wright completed, 33 of them are right here in Michigan. What you may think of as a distant epidemic can happen in your own backyard. For one small community in Michigan, they witnessed tragedy after tragedy unfold in their young residents. But from that despair came a ray of hope. This is the story of Families Against Narcotics.
All addiction obviously is bad, but you know, I can remember jokingly, not so jokingly, my wife and I having a conversation saying, you know, God, why couldn't it be booze? We could deal with booze, you know. Heroin addiction, opiate addiction is one of those things where it spirals out of control very, very quickly. You know, you'll meet a lot of functioning alcoholics. You don't meet functioning heroin addicts that often. You know, our son really spiraled out of control within 3 months. And one of the things he said later on is, you know, he thought he could walk away from anything. But he said, Dad, I couldn't walk away from this. He goes, I'd tried other drugs and it was no big deal. I could go weeks and not use it again and do my schoolwork and show up to work and do whatever it happened to do. And he goes, but this one was totally different. And he goes, I was hooked the minute I shot it into my arm. He had overdosed the day he had gotten out on a tether from jail months before. But he overdosed here and we were home and I heard him crash in the bathroom. Those first 48 hours are the worst with these addicts. And I wish I would have known that. The tether person said, oh, you know, you're one of the lucky ones. And I said, what do you mean I'm one of the lucky ones? Because we didn't feel very lucky. And they said, well, you know, out of the kids that were released on that Friday morning, 5 of them overdosed and 3 of them died. When he eventually passed the next time, you know, overdosed the next time and he actually passed, I remember while we were going through it, we were quiet. You know, when Eric died, I no longer kept it quiet. Our phone rang off the hook for about 2 weeks after that. And they were offering their condolences, and then they would kind of say, well, you know, tell us a little bit about what happened with Eric. And I'd get a little bit into the story, and then they would start crying, and they would say, my son's a heroin addict. My daughter's a heroin addict. My nephew, my niece. I decided to go out into the community and retrace every place that we touched to try to get a handle on why is it so bad. And I came across Judge Allen. And Judge Allen had said, you know, Phil, there's a group called Families Against Narcotics that was based out of Fraser, Michigan, that was doing the things that you're doing right now in the community. You may want to contact them and see if you can kind of tag on to what it is that they're doing. For me, it was a godsend. It did give us, you know, rather than reinvent the wheel, I was able to steal the wheel and put a structure in place to where you can really have an impact on your community. Right now, one of the newer things I'm doing with FAN in general is they've asked me to help them start chapters. We said to ourselves, if you're a family member of an addict, or you're the addict, who are you going to come in contact with? Who might you come in contact with? Well, doggone it, we're going to get them at the table and have them be part of our group, and that's what we've done. The first thing I always say is I'm the face of addiction. And that's getting into the front door to say, if you're not dealing with this, it could happen to you. A group like ours is really beneficial to you because we really are trying to break the curtain down a little bit so that it isn't so stigmatized, so that you can find not only a support system for yourself, but for your kid or loved one as well. We happen to be the Okemos Ingham County chapter, and again, I specifically call it Okemos because I want people to know it's a suburban problem. We meet at the University Lutheran Church, and we meet there on the 4th Tuesday of each month. That open forum is a place for the families to come. Bring your daughters and brothers and sisters of the addict, your wife, your husband, mom, dad, grandpa, whatever it happens to be, and the addict as well. My end mission is, I don't want any other family to have to go through what we went through. It sucked. It was terrible. And there's a lot better things to go through than to have to go through that. And so if we can save, one kid and one family from having to go through this, we've been successful.
The group meets the 4th Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. here at the Lutheran Church in East Lansing. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at how One Jackson establishment came to be and how they help those in need. Next on Community Connection.
You're not sitting here. Yes, I am. Move! Give it to him hard! No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stabbing me with it? No!
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Son of a bee stick! Jeez, can't believe this.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. If you skip it, your brain and body gonna pay. Breakfast benefits of metabolism in mind. The question is not, should I eat breakfast? It's what kind. Studies show that people who eat breakfast tend to choose healthy.
During the winter months, roads can become very slippery from snow and ice, and you never know when you could get stuck. Be proactive and prepare an emergency car kit to keep in your car in case of emergencies. Have it include an ice scraper, jumper cables, flashlight, blanket, water, first aid kit, and anything else that may be useful. Just a reminder to be prepared and drive safe.
Welcome back. Up next is the story of how one disease that often goes undiagnosed inspired a book and a building.
My name is Susan Berry, and my mission and passion is to raise awareness for male eating disorders. My son was a very happy child. Everything was completely normal, no signs whatsoever of anything out of the ordinary. Right when he was finishing 8th grade, he was having a pool party in our backyard. He took his shirt off to jump in the pool, and I was shocked. I had no idea it could be an eating disorder. After TJ passed away, the Marquette University students sent me a $1,000 check and said, we would like you to do an annual 5K for TJ. So I did it for 5 years. It's a huge amount of work. But then I wrote a book called Dying to Be Perfect, and I'm hoping that my book will take its place. I wrote the book so that it was specifically for parents of kids who have this. All the things that we learned, all the missteps, what to do. And I want to raise awareness with this because nobody acts quickly enough, and then every single month that goes by, it's worse and worse and worse. When they sent home 22 boxes from Marquette University, one of the boxes contained his lockbox. It was incredible. It was journals that he had written in, photographs he had taken of himself, every card or letter anybody had ever written him saying, TJ, why are you doing this? You have everything going for you, you know? And I thought, oh my gosh, this is an incredible story. Just this past summer, Britt and TJ's Place opened up. And the good thing about Britt and TJ's Place is they've had experience personally themselves with this, and they're gonna do the therapy, and if they think someone's not benefiting from it, they know what the next step is. So I'm very excited that I have a place now to say, okay, you need to go here, because there was no place around here that I would feel could help. Every single month that you keep him there is the best. The best he did was 3 months. He had gained over 30 pounds, and when he came home, he was actually TJ again. He looked fantastic. He had sparkle in his eyes. He was laughing. He was calling his friends, his buddies. The mistake we had was then he went right back to college, and he lost it all like in 2 weeks. So the transition is difficult, the amount of time, when they go, how long they stay, and what happens when they get out. Very crucial, and that's all in the book. Eating disorders are very, very challenging because of one thing. A lot of people think that that is someone's choice. They want to be skinny, or they want to have abs, or they just want attention. That is not true. It's like telling somebody that's bipolar to only be the happy side of your personality. It is an illness. They cannot stop doing it. I just have this feeling that there has to be some kind of a medication. When you see how somebody that's got schizophrenia or bipolar and how they can be helped with medication and live normal lives, why we can't figure out something to help an eating disorder. There's got to be something we can give to help these kids. So I know there has to be more research in this illness.
1 in 10 men and women with eating disorders will receive treatment. The Girl Scouts aren't just handing out cookies this year. Their Hometown Hero Award went to one local officer who's been brightening the holidays for local children.
For his role in serving kids in our area through the annual Mankowski Holiday Party, Beasley Girl Scouts would like to honor Officer Mankowski as our hometown hero. Because of his 23 years of caring, we would like to present Officer Mankowski with 36 tins of nuts and candy bought by generous donors through a fall product program.
We're happy to contribute to this 23rd holiday party and to honor Officer Mankowski as a local leader who makes a huge difference for kids in the community. Thanks for being our hometown hero.
Well, that's very nice of them. Hi, I'm Gaylord Mankowski. Nice to meet you. They came to the station and donated a lot of treats that we were able to give to folks, but that's not why I do it, and it's very nice they came to the station and did that for me. I just enjoy doing it. I wish I didn't have to do it in a sense. I wish everybody could grow up like I did, and most people, but that's not the case. When you give gifts that really strike a chord with certain kids, you can tell that this ain't happening if they weren't coming here.
Yes, I just passed out the candy right there, and actually Gaylord gets all the gifts from donations, stuff like that, and I help them do this thing with the kids. Yep, I'm Santa. Gaylord's been doing it for 22 years, and he asked me to come and do this the first year, and I've been doing it ever since.
When I was a kid, my dad used to take us to an orphanage run by nuns over near Harbor Springs. Seeing my dad and my uncles and a very close-knit community in Gaylord, and seeing those guys come together and helping people of need. It's a theme that kind of runs with my dad and his uncles and my mom, and so I'm trying to carry on. When I started here, I was assigned to the 2 trailer parks next to Tom's Party Store, Denny's, and it was kind of the poorest of the poor kids. So we started doing them there in the basement of the East Lansing Inn. When Wardcliff closed, Okemos Schools was gracious enough to let us move in here to Central School. We received a lot of checks written right to the township, and well, money was still coming in today, but I would say in the area of $8,000 that was donated. of which a lot of it was grassroots. And then we have some really generous corporate sponsors as well. Jackson National Life, Walmart here in Okemos, Target, Canada Dry Distributors, Leo's Lodge, and Spagnola's. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I don't pick the kids anymore because I can't be everywhere, so I go to the counselors, and they know the kids of greatest need, and they refer them to come to the party. And based on the amount I raise, that's how many kids each school can invite. We gave away 100 pounds of venison, and I'm going to tell you, there's not an ounce of that 100 pounds left. It's gone, and that's cool. We've never done that before. We just pulled off our 22nd annual holiday party, and another successful party.
I enjoy the kids, enjoy seeing their parents too, so I'm going to keep doing it, I think, as long as I can.
Officer Mankowski's Christmas parties have been a local tradition now for over 20 years. That wraps up this episode of Community Connection. If you have any questions or comments about Home TV's programming or would like to see somebody featured in an upcoming episode, feel free to contact us at 517-349-1232 or visit us online at HOMTV.net. I'm Andrea Mantakounis. Thanks for watching.